10 signs someone will be your friend for life, according to psychology. Have you ever met someone and felt like you've known them forever? Or perhaps you've shared a quiet moment with someone and thought, this is the kind of connection that lasts. Lifelong friendships aren't born out of convenience or proximity. They're built slowly, often silently, on the foundations of trust, acceptance, and shared humanity. In a world that often feels fast-paced and transactional, real friendship is rare, but not impossible. Psychology offers us clues about what makes some friendships stand the test of time. So today, let's dive into 10 powerful, research-backed signs that someone could be your friend for life. 1. They accept you completely, without fixing or judging you. One of the most profound indicators of a lifelong friendship is acceptance, the kind where you feel safe to be messy, flawed, emotional, or even contradictory. In these friendships, you don't feel like a project or a problem to be solved. You're not given unsolicited advice or fixed with pity. Instead, your friend listens, validates, and makes space for you as you are, not as you should be. Psych insight. Carl Rogers, a pioneer of humanistic psychology, emphasized the concept of unconditional positive regard, the idea that we thrive when we're accepted without judgment. True friends don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be authentic. Real-life example. Think about a time when you messed up, spiraled emotionally, or made a choice others didn't understand. The friend who stayed, who didn't flinch or scold, but instead said, I get it. I'm here. That's the friend you'll likely have for life. 2. Conversations are effortless and you don't feel the need to entertain. We often think meaningful conversations have to be deep or philosophical. But with lifelong friends, even the quiet moments feel rich. You can sit in silence and feel heard. You can talk about anything from grief to groceries and feel connected. This effortless rhythm is built over time, and it reflects a level of mutual understanding that goes beyond words. Psych insight. The interpersonal closeness model by psychologist Arthur Aaron found that shared vulnerability and fluid dialogue increase emotional closeness. When conversations feel natural, when you don't feel drained or guarded, it's a sign you're in safe company. Tip: if you can spend hours with someone and not feel the need to fill every silence, that's not awkwardness, that's trust. 3. They're emotionally reliable, not just socially available. Some friends are fun at parties. Others are lifelines during dark nights. A friend for life doesn't just show up when it's convenient. They show up when it's hard. When your world falls apart, they're the voice in your inbox, the hand on your shoulder, the meal left on your doorstep. More importantly, they make emotional availability feel mutual. You feel safe leaning on them, and they feel safe leaning on you. Psych insight. Researchers who study social bonds call this emotional reciprocity. It's not just about being there, it's about being present, especially in times of vulnerability. Example, the friend who remembers the anniversary of your loss or texts on the day of your job interview. Those are acts of long-term emotional investment. 4. They respect your boundaries and never guilt trip you for having them. We've all had moments where we needed space, quiet, or solitude. A true friend doesn't make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. They don't send passive-aggressive texts like, I guess you're too busy now, or some people forget their friends. They understand that love isn't measured by constant access, but by consistent respect. Psychological angle: respecting boundaries is often a sign of a secure attachment style, a trait found in people who can form strong, trusting relationships without becoming clingy or controlling. Growth insight. Lifelong friends grow with your boundaries. They adapt. They ask. They respect that your yes means something because your no is allowed too. 5. They celebrate you without envy or competition. You know they're a friend for life when they're not just your support system in sorrow. They're your cheerleader in joy. They don't shrink in your light. They don't compete or compare. When something beautiful happens to you, a promotion, a relationship, healing, they celebrate with their whole heart. Term to know. In psychology, this is called compersion, feeling happiness in another person's success. It's the opposite of envy. Research backing. Studies in positive psychology suggest that friends who authentically rejoice in each other's wins are more likely to maintain close ties over time. 6. You can disagree and still feel emotionally safe. Lifelong friendship doesn't mean lifelong agreement. In fact, disagreement is healthy. It shows honesty. What matters is how you disagree. A lasting friend knows how to argue with kindness. They don't weaponize your vulnerabilities or shut down communication. They stay, talk, and work through it. Psychological insight. Relationships that survive long-term tend to have a high degree of conflict resilience. The ability to handle disagreement without rupturing connection. Red flag. If a friendship feels like it will end every time you disagree, it's not built on emotional safety. 7. They show up in ordinary moments, not just big ones. A lasting friendship isn't defined by grand gestures. It's woven into the ordinary. It's Sunday coffees, grocery runs, voice notes about random thoughts, or laughing over a meme at midnight. When someone becomes part of your daily life, not just your dramatic chapters, they're embedding themselves into your story. Psych backing. According to sociologist Mark Granovetter's theory of tie strength, frequent, low-stakes interactions form strong emotional bonds over time. Reality check. If someone only contacts you in a crisis, they might be a caring acquaintance, but the one who checks in just because, that's long-haul material. 8. You grow in parallel, not in opposition. As you evolve in identity, beliefs, goals, a lifelong friend adjusts their position beside you. They don't hold you to your past. They don't say, "You've changed," as an accusation. Instead, they're curious. They learn you again. They allow you to grow without fear of abandonment. Psych insight. Developmental psychology shows that relationships survive transitions, career shifts, parenting, healing journeys, when both parties demonstrate emotional flexibility and mutual support. Real friendship isn't rigid. It's like a tree with roots deep enough to weather any season and branches that grow in different directions yet remain connected. 9. You feel comfortable being your raw, unfiltered self. You don't have to perform. You don't have to impress. You don't have to censor your weird, your deep, or your soft. With a lifelong friend, there's no internal editor. You feel emotionally relaxed in their presence, like your nervous system exhales. It's like concept. That's authenticity, and when someone allows us to be fully ourselves, without fear of judgment or rejection, we form what psychologist Brené Brown calls wholehearted connections. Key sign. If you've ever laughed until you cried until you laughed, or opened up without shame, that's the realest connection you've got. 10. Distance doesn't diminish the bond. Here's the final, undeniable sign. Time and distance don't erode the connection. You can go weeks, months, even years apart. And when you reconnect, it's like no time has passed. The energy, the trust, the understanding, it's all still there. Psych support. Research shows that relationships with shared emotional history and intellectual intimacy can survive geographic and temporal distance. What matters more than frequency is the depth and sincerity of the connection. Bonus sign? They're still your first call, even after time apart. Closing thoughts. Keep the real ones close. True friendship is sacred. It's one of the deepest forms of love. Chosen love, not bound by blood or obligation, but by trust and time. The signs we talked about today aren't always loud. Sometimes they're found in the quiet way someone remembers your birthday, or lets you cry without fixing it. Or texts, "I saw this and thought of you." If you have someone like this in your life, someone who's been steady through your evolution, who's held space for your soul, take a moment to thank them. Let them know they're seen. And if you're still waiting for that kind of bond, don't lose hope. Real friendship takes time. But when it happens, it's worth every second. Your turn. Which of these signs have you experienced with someone? Do you have a friend for life? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear it. If this post spoke to your heart, consider subscribing to our channel or sharing it with a friend. That's the best way you can support our content and help us grow a community rooted in kindness and connection. Thanks for being here. Keep tending to your heart and your relationships. And remember, the most beautiful friendships often start in the quietest moments.